Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill, where our minds are always open, our intentions are always pure, and the truth is always our ultimate goal. Because we believe if it can be destroyed by the truth, then it should be. And on this show, we explore conspiracy theories, and we can and do go down any and all interesting rabbit holes. No topic is too crazy. No idea is off limits. So if you like exploring cool ideas and theories, getting down to the bottom of things and finding out what's really going on, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our page to follow our future episodes. But that's enough business for now because we have a big show tonight to get to. Tonight on Conspiracy Theories and Chill, special guest Dan Mckenna is joining us, and we're going to be discussing the true shape of the Earth. Are we living a lie when it comes to the shape of our planet? Do we even know what our home really looks like? What is the true shape of the Earth? First off, just to begin with, what do you believe? Tell me in the comments, do you believe that the Earth is a spinning ball of mostly water flying through space at tens of thousands of miles an hour, chasing the sun through an ever-expanding galaxy? Or are you like me and think that the Earth is actually flat and stationary, covered by a dome firmament, as it states in the Bible and your senses seem to show you? Or is the Earth actually concave and we're inside of it, like Hitler and the Nazis, including many others, believe? Now, we know that you can't trust NASA, and head science actor Neil deGrasse Tyson says the Earth is actually pear-shaped. They can't make their mind up, and there's no real pictures. We live in a world where everything is a lie in the time of the great biblical deception. So do we even have the ability to actually know the truth of our home? Or anything? Well, tonight on Conspiracy Theories and Chill, Dan Mckenna is here. And he's going to be joining us, and he thinks he does know the true shape of the Earth. Dan claims that he can prove it to us and show us this truth. And I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say on this interesting topic. So, to start us off this evening, I made us a little intro video to get our conversation started. Now, it will lay out the mainstream accepted views of our home, as well as some other views of what shape Earth may be. And then we're going to get Dan in here and discuss the truth, get to the bottom of it. So if you're ready, let's watch this short video and get ready to go down this rabbit hole together so we can once and for all find out the true shape of the Earth.
Approximately 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth formed from particles left over from the creation of our Sun. Gravity drew these particles together to form pebbles, which then formed boulders and eventually the Earth. At its heart is a solid inner core covered by a liquid outer core. Above this sits the mantle made of flowing silicate rocks and a rocky crust. This rocky mass is the third planet from the Sun, orbiting the star from an average distance of about 93 million miles. It's close enough to the Sun to be warm, unlike the cold gas giants, but not so close that its surface is exposed to extreme heat and solar radiation, as is the case with Mercury. Earth's unique position in the solar system allows it to house phenomena yet to be found anywhere else in the universe, particularly liquid surface water and life.
It takes planet Earth 365 days to orbit the Sun. During its orbit, Earth travels a vast distance of nearly 1,000 million miles. Earth rotates on its axis once a day. As Earth rotates, it also tilts so that different parts of the planet are positioned closer to the Sun at different times during the orbit. This tilt of the planet creates the different seasons that we experience on Earth.
The horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon over 20+ miles high. Only NASA and other government space agencies show curvature in their fake CGI photos and videos. The horizon always rises to the eye level of the observer as altitude is gained, so you never have to look down to see it. If Earth were in fact a globe, no matter how large, as you ascended, the horizon would stay fixed, and the observer or camera would have to tilt, looking down further and further to see it. The natural physics of water is to find and maintain its level. If Earth were a giant sphere, tilted, wobbling, and hurtling through infinite space, then truly flat, consistently level surfaces would not exist here. But since Earth is in fact an extended flat plane, this fundamental physical property of fluids, finding and remaining level, is consistent with experience and common sense. Rivers run down to sea level, finding the easiest course, north, south, east, west, and all other intermediary directions over the Earth at the same time. If Earth were truly a spinning ball, then many of these rivers would be impossibly flowing uphill. For example, the Mississippi in its 3,000 miles would have to ascend 11 miles before reaching the Gulf of Mexico. One portion of the Nile River flows for 1,000 miles with a fall of only 1 foot. Parts of the West African Congo, according to the supposed inclination and movement of the ball Earth, would be sometimes running uphill and sometimes down. This would also be the case for the Parana, Paraguay, and other long rivers. If Earth were a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, as NASA and modern astronomy claim, spherical trigonometry dictates the surface of all standing water must curve downward an easily measurable 8 inches per mile multiplied by the square of the distance. This means along a 6-mile channel of standing water, the Earth would dip 6 feet on either end from the central peak. Every time such experiments have been conducted, however, standing water has proven to be perfectly level. Surveyors, engineers, and architects are never required to factor the supposed curvature of the Earth into their projects. Canals, railways, bridges, and tunnels, for example, are always cut and laid horizontally, often over hundreds of miles, without any allowance for curvature. The Suez Canal, connecting the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, is 100 miles long, without any locks, making the water an uninterrupted continuation of the two seas. When constructed, the Earth's supposed curvature was not taken into account. It was dug along a horizontal datum line 26 feet below sea level, passing through several lakes from one sea to the other, with the datum line and the water's surface running perfectly parallel over the 100 miles. The London and Northwestern Railway forms a straight line 180 miles long between London and Liverpool. The railroad's highest point, midway at Birmingham Station, is only 250 feet above sea level. If the world were actually a globe, however, curving 8 inches per mile squared, the 180-mile stretch of rail would form an arc, with the center point at Birmingham raising over a mile, a full 5,400 feet above London and Liverpool. The Lieutenant Colonel Portlock experiment used oxyhydrogen Drummond's lights and heliostats to reflect the sun's rays across stations set up across 108 miles of St. George's Channel. If the Earth were actually a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, Portlock's light should have remained hidden under 1.5 miles of curvature. If the Earth were truly a sphere 25,000 miles in circumference, airplane pilots would have to constantly correct their altitudes downwards so as to not fly straight off into outer space. A pilot wishing to simply maintain their altitude at a typical cruising speed of 500 miles per hour would have to constantly dip their nose downwards and descend 2,777 feet, over half a mile, every minute. Otherwise, Without compensation, in 1 hour's time, the pilot would find themselves 31.5 miles higher than expected. The experiment known as Airy's failure proved that the stars move relative to a stationary Earth, and not the other way around. By first filling a telescope with water to slow down the speed of light inside, then calculating the tilt necessary to get the starlight directly down the tube, Airy failed to prove the heliocentric theory, since the starlight was already coming in the correct angle with no change necessary, and instead proved the geocentric model correct.
So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. It gets wider in the middle. So Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So, it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of Mount Everest above sea level.
Oh, really?
We have a saying in science, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. So I am now going to make a wild, way out, extraordinary claim. The world is round. For curvature of the Earth Horizon Model of Science!
Truth in plain sight.
As ships sail away, they don't disappear all at once. No, first, the bottom will disappear. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off a table. So people realized that the world is curved. I mean, it's a big curve, but it's curved.
Watch, they can bring every ship back into focus. Look, it's under the water. Oh. Now it's gone. Oh, it went over the curve of the Earth. Oh, no, it didn't. You know they're outlawing these cameras. They're discontinuing these cameras. The camera you can shoot the moon with, they're discontinuing it. It's your perspective. Your perspective changes. It's just like the road doesn't come to a point. It just looks like it comes to a point because of your perspective. But you can bring it back into focus with one of these cameras, with the extreme zoom. It's time to tell you that our guest canceled on me like an hour before the show. Now, he was going to present the concave Earth version of our reality. This is one of the only pieces of evidence he sent me for that. So this zoom, he states, shows the Earth is concave and actually curves upward. So he claims he's going to show that, or Dan, our guest, claimed he was going to show that, but he decided at 5:50 to tell me he wasn't going to be here. So I'm going to do my best to present his version, even though I don't believe his version. Like Drew says, we're inside a machine. You know, that's probably closer to the truth than concave Earth. I have a lot of trouble with concave Earth. I was going to give Dan a lot of room to present his side, but he sent me evidence, and it was 2 videos just like this, where they film right on the water and show that the Earth curves upwards because they say this shows that. See that how the horizon is curving up, it looks like. But we just watched some camera footage from P1000 cameras or Nikon P1000s where it didn't look like that when you zoom in on it. I think, again, it's about perspective, you know. But I found a video that we're going to watch that should represent Dan's side of the argument. But, you know, to be fair, Dan canceled. So Dan kind of forfeited his right to present his side. I just feel that I should do that for anybody who might be here that falls into Dan's category. And if you do, please take part in the comments. I want to hear from you. Do you think the Earth is concave? You know, do you think we live inside of a hollow Earth? Hitler did. You know, I'm just telling you. Hitler thought that's where we lived. We lived inside the Earth. And I've seen other evidence for it. But we're going to look at that. We're going to look at that. And in just a little while, Harsh Med is going to join us. He's been good enough to agree to come on for this conversation. But if you're an expert on concave Earth and you want to join our conversation, come on in. Because I'm a creationist. I'm going to show you in just a second what I believe. We're going to start with my version. But I want to hear yours. Tell me what you believe. Do you believe we're on a ball of water flying through space, spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 60,000 miles an hour through an ever-expanding universe? Do you believe the official story, what NASA says? Do you think the James Webb Telescope is out in space taking pictures of fantastic universes? Do you think that stuff is real? Do you believe NASA? Maybe you do. Maybe you believe the official story. Maybe you're like me and you're a creationist and you believe the Earth is flat and stationary, protected by a dome firmament, just as God says it is. Or you're a flat earther who is not religious, which is in existence. That is something that is real. Even though I don't understand, because I believe that the shape of the Earth, the reason why they're hiding the shape of the Earth is because it proves God. You know, when you know for a fact that you live on a stationary Earth and the sky rotates around you, when you know that for a fact, you know there's a God. But there are a lot of flat earthers who believe we're on a created environment protected by a dome firmament, stationary and everything, that don't believe in God. Maybe they believe we were placed by some alien civilization. Maybe they believe that we're a computer simulation. I'm not sure exactly what they believe, but all I can present is my belief, and then Harsh is going to present his belief. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about the shape of the Earth. Joan says she knows there is a whole other world under our ground. Aaron says fixed in place, firmament draping like a veil and separating the waters above from the waters below. That's what I believe, sir. You sound like a creationist like me. Drew says continents connected because people all knew all the languages it could travel to. Different continents. Are you talking about Pangea? I don't happen to believe in Pangea, but maybe you do. I believe the Earth was very different pre-flood. So maybe I do believe in Pangea. It all depends on how you think about it. But we're going to discuss this. We're going to get into it. I'm going to do my best to present Dan's side of the argument. Dan said he was going to convince us that the Earth is concave, but Dan is unprofessional. So I'm going to do my best to present Dan's side of the argument. And the concave Earth people should feel represented because I tried to represent you. Now, like I said, I'm a creationist. I believe the Earth is flat. Harsh, who's going to join us here in a little bit, doesn't know what he believes. So he's going to play the role of a skeptic. I'm a flat earther. I guess that's what you call me. I don't believe we can know. you know, and I don't know that I'm a flat earther so much as you know what theory I'm into the most right now? The extra land theory and the moon map. That the moon is actually a map of the real Earth, including the extra land. A photo upon its creation was burned into the image of the moon. That's what I believe. That's where I'm falling now. I'm starting to feel like the Earth, though, maybe creates itself as far out as you go. Do you remember Admiral Byrd? Admiral Byrd is the only person to have missions in both the North and South Pole. He claims there was extra land, lush, green, extra land with lakes and everything. You know, he's one of the only people to explore it. They never said he was crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start our discussion. I was hoping Harsh would be here for this, but I'm going to start by letting you know what I think. So I laid it out on an episode of the Sean Yankee Show, and we're going to watch that clip real quick. It's about 12 minutes long, and then we're going to talk a little while, and then I have a video on concave Earth. And hopefully Harsh is here with us, because I would like to see what Harsh thinks about this stuff. Somebody who's a skeptic, somebody who is not convinced. Sorry, someone who's not convinced about the shape of the Earth and isn't sure about it. Ugh. All right, so you ready? I told you we would see dumpster fires. I told you on the very first episode of this show there would be dumpster fires. So if you like those, stay tuned, because I'm sure we're not done. But here is my views on the shape of the Earth, and then I'll be back with you.
CJ was saying how it ties to flat Earth. I was talking about being side shamed today, kind of like a jab. Somebody said something silly about flat earthers, who happens to know I believe we live in a created environment. So that opens the door to flat Earth for sure. What I know for sure is I don't know everything, and I'm being lied to on a massive scale. But I believe this Earth was created by God, which points to a flat, enclosed Earth. And you're shamed to shit for having that opinion. But you know what? I feel like the people shaming you don't know anything either. And that's the one thing I'm sure of, is that I am being lied to in such a way that I could never possibly fully understand anything. And I can't even comprehend reality fully. I only have my five senses to perceive it with. There's so much going on I can't even see all around me. We covered Hollow Earth. I did a video on Hollow Earth. We can cover absolutely any topic, and we looked into Hollow Earth. Adolf Hitler actually believed the Earth was hollow and that we are in the inside.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, you know what? I would love to, but it would be a long one. I would have to do that one in pieces too. Flat Earth is a very fascinating topic.
Harsh has just joined us. What we're doing right now is we're doing our best to piece together an episode. Because, like I told you, Dan canceled on me at 10 minutes or an hour and 10 minutes before the show.
Shame, really.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so professional. Anyways, what is going on right now is I'm presenting my thoughts on the Earth. Because tonight we're going to talk about the shape of the Earth, Harsh.
Yeah.
Harsh has been good enough to join me to talk about that. Jones talking about, didn't Admiral Byrd go inside the Earth? Admiral Byrd says that he did. Did you know about that, Harsh?
I was Admiral Byrd. Is that the same guy in Antarctica who found? Is that the same admiral who found the truth out about what happens in Antarctica and all that stuff?
That's Admiral Byrd.
Yeah,
he says he went inside the Earth. Harsh, did you know that?
I didn't know that part. I knew he said some other stuff in regards to what's really happened there in Antarctica, and that's why they keep it a secret and all that sort of stuff. But knowing what I know about him, I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
All right. So you want to hear more about what I think about the Earth?
Sure.
All right. You can laugh and stuff if you find something funny during this, but I was gonna let me talk and tell me about the Earth. Let's let me talk real quick.
All right, let's
The one you
listen
are
to Shanya.
ashamed to shit for even looking at. And I,
You
like
are.
many others, when I first looked at it, went into it out of curiosity. I'm pretty open-minded, and I'm not afraid to look at different topics. But, I didn't go into it convinced of it, but they'd make a lot of good points.
I'm talking about flat Earth right now.
Yeah.
This factors in the uncharted lands. Admiral Byrd led the largest expedition ever to Antarctica, Operation High Jump. It was a huge expedition, and he explored the area and came back and told some interesting stories. And one of them was that an area larger than the Americas was unexplored in Antarctica, and he described it being lush with lakes and green areas and resources, and it's very interesting. Wiggy said there's loads of evidence pointing to flat Earth, and it can't be ignored. But that's exactly what they do with it, and the way they do it is to convince people that if they even entertain it, if you even allow that idea to come into your mind, you have been tainted by these crazy conspiracy theorists. You're insane now. Even the thought entering your head. Oh, the official story of what our existence is makes zero sense. Spinning around at amazing speeds, flying through the galaxy, chasing the sun at even more amazing speeds, expanding in a universe that's ever expanding. It's insane. The mathematical probabilities of any one detail of it fall apart under any scrutiny, and they're massive figures. Just the chance of each little coincidence lining up. And they claim millions of these coincidences lined up. They love coincidences.
Now I'm going to stop me just for a second. I want to back this up a little bit. Do you see the numbers on the screen?
Yeah, that's
So the
really
Earth is
demonic.
supposedly tilting at 66.6 degrees. 666.
Wow.
It's rotating at 666.92 miles per hour, 666.
Right.
Orbiting the sun at 66,660 miles per hour, 666.
Right.
It's all satanic numbers all the way through it.
And one other satanic number, 93 million miles from the sun. Guess what? 9 plus 3 is 12. Divided by 2 is 66. So you got like 4 sets of 666s in there, which is really demonic.
It is. Now, real quick, how do you feel? How do you feel about the shape of the Earth?
I mean, I think we're lied to. I think we're lied to about it, but I can't say it's, what we've been told to about it being a globe, but I also can't say that it's flat either, because I think it's something in between. Like, I don't know what it is, but I know
Do
that
you
we're
think?
lied to about.
So you're talking about NASA, right? NASA lies to us, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Them and whomever
I
else.
believe NASA is a money laundering operation, 100%. It's a CGI pretend cartoon organization. Do you feel that way about NASA?
Oh, absolutely. How is it? My question is, how is it that NASA can just lose all the technology that the technology that they had in regards to going to the moon the first time, and yet no one really says a thing about it? I was like, okay, what's the big deal?
Yeah, no, they lost that technology. Not only that, but the first time they went to the moon, it took them 3 days to get there. The last time they went to the moon here recently, when the last time they say they went, took them 6 days.
That's very sus.
It is super sus. Like, we've got 60 years more technology, and it takes us 3 extra days to get there.
I mean, were they just orbiting the moon for 3 days? Like, hey, do you want to go down? No, I'm thirsty. Let's eat. Let's drink some more space water. Hey, you want to
the rocket in the 70s was able to get there in 3 days, but the rocket nowadays it takes 6 days. And they couldn't show you. They couldn't show you the landing on the moon.
My
couldn't show that.
Were they orbiting the moon just like waiting to land in the perfect spot, or is this some other sus stuff going on?
No, it took them 6 days to get there.
Wow.
And then they couldn't show it landing on the moon. They said they
Yeah.
couldn't show it. Now, there was a cameraman on the moon in 69 filming them land.
But
They
yeah,
filmed the moon lander landing on the moon in 69.
right.
Who was there filming it?
That I don't know, but all I know is according to Drew Brady, he says with people now it's impossible now. NASA says, according to NASA, it's impossible, and Drew says they lost the paperwork on how they did it. It is their claim. Yeah, that
It
whole
is
situation is
impossible.
shit.
They claim that because they can't get through the Orion or the Van Allen radiation belts. Now, the Orion mission was planning to go through it, to take people through it, but they were planning that recently.
Right.
This is in the last 10 years. They don't know how to get through the Van Allen radiation belts, but they say they did it, and they say the way they did it was for waiting for gaps in the belt, waiting for the perfect timing to go through, and then they just went through really quickly.
Yeah. All I know is none of this makes sense, and the eclipse is at 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days since the last eclipse of 27.
666 comes up all the time.
They just like taunting us with this, don't they? It's like their favorite
Well,
number, 666.
yeah, it is. And, and like everything that's been inverted, 666 actually used to be a holy number, but that's another story.
Right.
But let me finish this because I just want to because I like that you don't know.
Right.
My favorite part about having you on tonight is that you don't have an opinion on the shape of the earth. So at the end of this, maybe after I throw my opinion at you and we throw the concave earth opinion at you, maybe we can come up with something.
Maybe. We'll see. All I
We'll
know is
see.
that I don't trust either. All I know is globe and flat just seem way too convenient.
Yeah.
Both of them sound convenient. Too convenient.
But let me listen to me ramble on a little more
Yeah, of
about
course,
flat
of
earth.
course. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna snack on something while you're mumbling on. But yeah,
Just
Okay.
lined up. They love coincidences. Anything they can't explain, they just throw coincidence right on it and move on. They don't give a shit if it makes sense. The lie does not even have to be plausible. They just have to shame people into believing it, and then groupthink takes over, and that's it. There is demonic figures all throughout the stats they give you, like because it's chasing the sun. I think it's something like 66,600 miles per hour. There's 666 in there too, and then some of the things divide into 666. They're varying the numbers in numerology, and they can make their math figures work out however they want. And that's what they've done. Even Tesla said it. They don't do science anymore. They're just really good at math. And when you're really good at math, you can work out an equation however you want. They can't. And most of the theories that they base everything on to explain it with their bullshit answers are theories that don't hold up to any other science. They're bullshit. They're made up. Like evolution, made up. There's nothing to back it up. No real science. Dana goes with simulation, which also fits into what I believe. I believe we are in a created world, which would be a simulation. So we agree, actually. We just think of it differently. We're calling it something different. Dude, they talk about what the moons of Saturn are like, the oceans of Jupiter. Crazy shit. You should watch Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson. They talk out of their ass and make anything up. I saw him talking about what like the winds were like on Venus as if they'd been there. They'll make up anything. No fucking way. Look, for one, have you ever seen water curve? Just real quick, think about that. When have you seen that? Water always finds its level. So how do you have water on a ball? It doesn't make any sense. Ron said he heard the moon is fading away from the earth. Where'd you see that? Or do you mean moving further away? It doesn't move, man. It's a light in the sky. Aaron thought it's getting closer. I don't think it moves. I mean, it moves, but it ain't getting closer or further away. You know what I mean? It's fixed. Dude, it's everywhere, Wiggy. It's everywhere, all around us. These people that lord over us, these bloodlines that have ruled humanity for centuries, they're Luciferian. That is their common denominator. And these symbols are everywhere. These signs are everywhere. CJ says the 9/11 box cutters. Earth is spinning thousands of miles an hour. Dude, the official numbers, I'm telling you, they have satanic figures all throughout them. I've seen it shown to me. I don't have them in front of me right now, but it's obvious. It's all made up bullshit, and they just run with it. And then they use that groupthink mentality to shame everybody who just thinks for themselves. I watched a really funny video from Awaken with JP today, who does great work right now and gets away with it under the guise of satire. It's amazing. But it was about Facebook being down and how these two people are having a conversation. One of them is a brainwashed cattle, and the other is a regular person that tries to talk about real things on Facebook, is censored all the time, having a conversation about Facebook being down. And it was amazing. So much great insight in that video. But these people, they don't think for themselves. They let others think for them and then just go with it. They're like, okay, this is what we believe, and we shame everybody who doesn't. And now it's so dangerously violent, their reactions to their marching orders. It's frightening me, especially when you factor in where they're wanting to go with it. Like that friend of mine I was talking about, he's lost his mind. He thinks there's 80,000 bad nurses that needed to be fired.
This is during COVID.
Yeah, I can tell.
But no, I'm just explaining, like, I don't know how much of that you heard, but like, what do you think about this? Like, water curving.
I mean,
have you ever seen water curve?
I've seen waves, like I've seen that.
Well, you've seen waves, but I'm saying like water is always flat. So how do you get water on a ball? They say gravity, right?
All right.
Gravity holds the water to the ball. But why does it let a butterfly fly above the water? So if gravity is so strong that it can hold water to a ball, why does it allow a butterfly to fly above the water?
Well, the butterfly has wings, right? I don't know.
So the butterfly is light? Is that what you're saying? Because here's what I think it is. I think it's buoyancy. So so like it's the weight of things that holds them down. And like, so like lighter objects, like a helium balloon floats up into the sky, but a rock stays on the ground. Just like in water, like certain things float and certain things sink to the bottom. It's the same thing here on our planet. I think it's more buoyancy than it is gravity. Gravity, like, they can't explain gravity, right?
No.
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I can look up a video of him being asked what gravity is. He just changes the subject. He'll say that. He'll be like, let's change the subject, because he can't describe to you what gravity is.
I mean, I don't.
Well, I know you don't have an opinion on it, but I'm throwing stuff off of you right now.
I believe gravity exists. I just don't believe I just believe we've been lied to when it comes to.
Well, you believe gravity exists, or you believe like you will not float off into space? Do you believe gravity's the reason for that, or do you just know you won't float off into space?
I just believe we're not fortunate enough to float off into space.
Yeah.
But
because like mainstream science, gravity is a theory. They'll laugh at you and point fingers and stuff, but if you can't describe and explain what something is, then it's a theory. It's just something you think is real. You can't prove it. Like, you don't know what it is. You can't tell me what gravity is. No one can. They just say you stay on the earth because of gravity. Right. Boats float upside down in Australia because of gravity. Water sticks to a ball because of gravity.
Oh, I do like what Drew said. We are being held to earth by electromagnetic pulses our body and the core have in common. There is no gravity. It's electric source. I don't know what to make of that.
Well, that's good. That's why you're such a good guest tonight. Because honestly, I don't think Dan had any proof at all for concave Earth. I really don't. Because the video evidence he sent me was 2 videos that are about 2 minutes long each, and they just had to do with the same thing, with
But
perspective and cameras bringing things into focus, which is not proof of curvature.
right. Well,
I don't think you can get water to curve upwards either. So, like the concave Earth people think that we're inside of like a bowl, and the sky is a ball that rotates around us.
I think I might believe part of that at this point. Because I mean, if
Well,
we can't leave because of the belt, the Van Allen belt, then isn't that kind of a ball? Isn't that itself kind of a globe? Isn't that itself kind of a snow globe, like a ball we can't leave?
well, I believe we are in a fixed environment, and we can't leave it. But I believe we're in an environment created by God. I believe it just like Genesis, just like it says in the Bible. I believe God made this world, and I kind of believe a version of what Drew's saying,
No,
that
that doesn't
our
sound like it.
consciousness is creating our own reality
Right.
endlessly, and that we are creators as well. Just God built us in his own image, and in that way I think we're creators,
No,
and that we help create this world through our vibration and our frequency, our individual frequencies.
that makes sense. Now, my question is, when we talk about God and the universe and all that, is it possible that God created other life forms on other planets and other universes as well?
I mean, it's possible.
I mean, I
It
think
is possible. But do you believe in space travel? Let me just start there. Do you believe that man has been to the moon? Let's start there.
I don't believe man has been to the moon. I don't believe humans can space travel.
Do you believe in outer space though? Like, do you believe that like
Yeah.
Pluto is a planet you could fly to it if you could?
I
Like you
believe
could go
that
out
there's
into
many different
space and fly
galaxies,
away?
many different planets, many different galaxies, and all that. I just believe that we're just stuck. I just believe we're stuck.
Do you believe that we're spinning through space, chasing the sun?
That I don't know anymore.
Because see, here's my problem with that. So like the sky doesn't change. So for thousands of years, you've been able to navigate with the constellations, and they don't change. They've been the same for thousands of years. You're looking at the Little Dipper for thousands of years. If we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, wouldn't the sky and the constellations constantly be changing?
That's possible, but at the same time, you also have to remember, think of all the things that have been created on this planet. Think about all the things like pyramids and some of the other structures from like ancient knowledge. Are we really to believe that, oh, that's just inclined planes and slaves that built it? Or is it the fact that, we had other beings visit the earth years ago, and, generations ago, and they were the ones who built some of these, they're the ones who carved up some of these ancient structures that we see today. 'Cause, see, the thing is that goes both ways. If you believe, okay, well, we've never been to space and we're not ancestors of aliens or anything like that, then how do you explain all the structures that were built generations ago? Like if God's the creator, God's going to create more than just humans.
Drew just said one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life.
Some
humans were reincarnated as dinosaurs and made to help build.
How would that even?
I don't know. I want to smoke some of what Drew's smoking on.
Dinosaurs came before the humans.
You believe in dinosaurs?
Well, I'm just saying if we're going by the timeline.
Oh, yeah. But I'm asking you, do you believe in dinosaurs?
I mean, part of me wants to believe that, another part of me doesn't. So I'm kind of mixed on that too. There's something about the whole reptilian thing that's just weird.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing that we could get into too. But you think though, Jackie had mentioned this on the Yank or on your feed that we came from outer space.
Well, it's possible. I mean, like
so you believe in the Nibiru? Nibiru maybe, or Anunnaki, that they created us here on the earth?
I mean, it's possible they're descendants for all we know. I mean, I do like what Aaron says. He says, I do like what Aaron says. He says, when it comes to God the Creator, all things are possible. Well, if all things are possible, then we're talking about things that we're not even scratching the surface of.
No, I mean, yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like we can't possibly know because God is the answer.
And
anything is possible when you're talking about God.
Right, but that means that knife can cut in many different ways, for a lack of a better phrase. And and another thing is, our guy Gerard Kenyatta would always say, nature never does anything just once. So, I mean, for all we know, we could be living a replay of things that were done generations ago right now, like millennia ago right now, and not even notice it.
True.
That's
the main thing I know. The main thing I know is that I don't fucking know. Like, you could just about squeeze what I don't know in the Grand fucking Canyon. There's tons I don't know, and I think that there's way more that we can't even perceive that's outside of our perception, outside of our senses, outside of our ability to perceive it.
The only thing I know for a fact is that none of us are going to ever really figure out what's the truth about all of these things. We'll maybe find out what we will find out is that we've been lied to, and we'll find out the patterns of the lies. But after that, it's just it's a trying to think of the it's almost like it's like a Death Valley almost.
I think Joan's right here. I think dinosaurs are just a large form of animals that we have now. Because dinosaurs were really created by Rockefeller to increase the price of oil.
Oh, so he was the one who owned the I'm trying to think of that one company that used to have it. The one dinosaur company, the one gasoline company that used to have it. They had like a dinosaur as a
Sinclair.
Sinclair.
Yeah, the Rockefellers created dinosaurs because they wanted people to believe that oil comes from dinosaurs and oil is a rare entity.
It was such a catchy commercial too.
Well, it's bullshit. And then the Smithsonian, for instance, has no real dinosaur bones. And most museums don't. And even the ones that claim they do will never show them to any real researchers. They keep them locked away. They're not on the model that's out there, the fake T-Rex that they got standing up or whatever. Those are fake as shit. Yeah. They created those from like one or two bones. And again, like they won't show you or let anybody authenticate them. And then they create a whole dinosaur out of those bones. And now they're trying to tell you that dinosaurs were covered in feathers and like velociraptors became chickens when there's no evidence of evolution in any species.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
So why are we believing that dinosaurs evolved into birds? They want to tell you dinosaurs became birds.
Yeah, that part never made any sense to me because it's like, outside of pterodactyls, that would make no logical sense. Because remember, but they'll tell you dinosaurs evolved in the birds, even though dinosaurs were, even though we're told that dinosaurs are reptiles, and their descendants are alligators and crocodiles. I mean, the whole taxonomy makes no sense. So dinosaurs evolved into birds, but yet they're related to crocodiles and alligators, supposedly.
Yeah.
But
like I said, there's no evidence of evolution in any species.
But see, that to me is where it makes no sense. It's like, how can the dinosaurs be birds, but yet evolve into birds, but yet their but yet their descendants are reptiles?
Because they're just making shit up, man.
That's the thing people really need to focus on. I focus on. In the meanwhile, Drew's telling me something that I'm probably not going to be interested in when we die. But he says, Drew says, we will find out when we die, Harsh. We will see a very crazy movie. Laughing and then with the hundreds for full 100. which
Yeah.
is probably true. But when I die, I don't plan on like trying to revisit what I did on this planet or what I observed on this planet. I'll be like, yeah, we're
Who
dead.
knows what happens when we die?
I
You may
mean,
not care about anything that happened in this life. You may
only
not even remember it.
the only thing I will say is once I die, I will not care about anything that happens on this planet. It's like, I'm dead. You're all on your own. Goodbye.
Robert's right about this, though. I believe
Yeah.
this too. I believe all animals were once larger than they are now, including humans.
I
You know,
think,
they find evidence of cave people and all that. I think
yeah,
those are just a different version of human beings. That everything was bigger and stronger back then.
it's possible because I mean, I always hear about like back in the old country or even in like old like text, I'd always hear about how humans were like giants and lived until 150 years old. You know, as for the animals, that could be a mixed bag because there's the same people say the animals were larger once than they are now are the same people who say that humans are a lot smaller than they are now. So I mean, I don't. It's so possible. It's possible no matter how you look at it. It's just
I like how you feel like things are possible. I like that. Are you ready to have your fucking mind blown?
is it from the guy who sent those 2 2-minute videos?
No, this is from somebody else. I went and I looked out, I sought out a good documentary on concave Earth so that I could present that side. We could both hear it
All
together.
right.
I mean, we can react to this, Harsh. We can talk over it,
All right.
but it's scientific. I found a good one.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I wanted to represent that. You know, we're going to represent all sides. I represented in the intro the science version that we're a ball of water spinning through space, flying around in an endless galaxy. I presented that. I presented my view on the flat Earth. Me and you kicked around how we think things, you know, maybe a certain different way. And then now we're going to watch this short video on the concave Earth, and me and you are going to react to it.
All right. Word.
Yeah, word up.
Okay.
So if you're ready, let's learn about the concave Earth.
Okay, bet. Let's go.
Bet.
Anyway, as far as field theory, we only have two field modalities, and we have one field. There is only one field. Now we think in terms of electrostatics, like dielectricity. We think in terms of magnetic field, electrical, and then we think of gravitational field. But ultimately, I hope to make this really fast and simple for you to understand it. That there's only one field, and there's the loss of that field, as expressed by magnetism, i.e. the loss of inertia, because there's only two principles that rule the entire universe: force in motion and inertia and acceleration. Well, how do you tie all four of them together rationally? Now, actually, let me show you this. Now, as you've seen underneath the ferrocell, a magnet, doesn't matter what shape it is, looks exactly like this. It looks like a torus. It looks like a reciprocal. Of course, most people can't visualize that. I can. A reciprocating precessional hyperboloid, which sounds complicated, but is divinely simplex. Now, you see this spirograph-like hypertrochoidal pattern. We're able to get it overneath the camera better to show it to you in a slightly uncompressed fashion. There you go. You actually see a torus, a toroid, a spirograph, a hypertrochoid. That's the expression of the loss of inertia. Now, as Faraday called magnetism, he called it the dielectric field. But what does that mean specifically? It means that the necessitated loss of inertia, i.e. the ether, must be expressed as the creation of space, and of course the posterior attribute of the creation of space is a measure of movements of magnitude, which we call time, but of course time does not exist. Time is a human contrivance. Here we have dielectricity with absolutely no manifestation. There's a linear propagation. Now, we think of a single point, i.e. the ether, as being unmanifest. The longitudinal propagation, such as found in electromagnetism, i.e. radio or regular light.
Okay, so right away, I'm realizing this is going to be for really smart people. Are you really smart, Harsh?
Well, that depends on who's answering that question.
You're answering that question.
I'd like to believe I'm not stupid.
All right, so do you get this so far? We're talking about electromagnetism. We're talking about toruses. We're talking about electromagnetic fields. We're talking about all kinds of crazy shit. Are you in it so far?
A little bit, yeah.
You in it to win it?
I'll stay in it.
You're going to be in it, man. I'm telling you. You're in it to ride now.
All right.
Obviously has a longitudinal pulse between each waveform of the electrical value and the magnetic value of the waveform of the transverse electromagnetism. Now here we have electricity, which, by the way, is phi times IQ in Planck electrification. Electricity is nothing other than the hybrid of electricity and magnetism operating together, which is found in, obviously, frequency and amplitude, constantly pulsing back and forth like this. So we have one field, one release of that field potential, i.e. the loss of that inertia, as expressed in force and motion, and we have two field modalities, one being electricity, okay, frequency and amplitude, and the other one being gravity, which is a dielectric condensate. We have a nucleus, okay. Right here we have tons of magnetodielectric space created. Okay, space is not a thing. Space is neither a field nor a force. Space acts on nothing. Space does nothing. This is the ultimate brain virus and huge flaw that Tesla says over and over again, as well as others, of general relativity, is reified space as something that does something. It's like saying a shadow has done something, or a shadow is the absence of something. Okay, the absence of inertia. Let's just consider the central point here, which is not a point. It's even prior to a point. That the loss of that inertia is expressed in force and motion, leaves behind it a wake that us humans and our stupidity, all of us, call space. Okay, we live in it, we breathe in it because we're all existential beings, but that space is neither a field nor a force. It does nothing, it acts on nothing.
In the winter of 1896 and 97, the geodetic staff of the Correction Unity of Estero, Florida, conducted a survey on the Gulf Shore at Naples, Florida. This survey covered a period of several months, proving conclusively that the Earth curves upward and that we are living on the inner surface of a hollow globe. The sun, moon, and stars all being within the circumference of 25,000 miles. That the surface of the Earth is round, there can be no question. But that we are living on the outer surface of a convex globe rotating rapidly through space is pure assumption or guesswork. We have here a working model of the hollow globe, or the cellular cosmogony as we call it. On the inner surface of this great shell, we find here the western continent. Over there is the eastern hemisphere. And here is the sphere of the heavens with sun, moon, and stars revolving. Contrary to the usual thought that the China is beneath our feet, it is in reality above us.
This is blowing my mind. Is your mind blown, Harsh?
It's rather interesting, that's for sure.
It's
Just
super
seeing
interesting.
how they explain the hollow diagrams, it's rather like.
Yeah, let's check out more of this and see what we believe.
I'm sure some of you, or maybe even most of you, know what platonic solids are. That came from Plato and Socrates' days, and Plato coined the term. And that these solids, there's five of them. There's the tetrahedron, the double tetrahedron, the icosahedron. You know, these are platonic solids. Well, Carr and his people came up with this double tetrahedron, which is equally balanced. Any way you want to put this thing, in any position, it's a square, it's a circle, it's elliptical, it's a pyramid. It's one object, and it has a tremendous amount of power when you expose it to a magnetic field. It's tremendous, unlimited power. And in the center of that field, just like the neutron, that's where all the power is. There's an enormous amount of power in a magnetic field right in the center. And we've been looking at it all our lives and we've never seen it.
So you tell me, how do you know there's an octahedron in the middle of the concave Earth, Steve? How do you know? Well, like I told you before, I read the Bible, Job chapter 38, verses 4 through 7. laid it with measures, stretched a line upon it, cornerstone was placed. I read Revelation 21, describes the city as wide as it is long, as it is high. It's 12,000 furlongs. And then I found out that there's magnetic equilibrium points within the ocean along the equator at 90 degrees apart. And then we have a little corroboration from our good old buddies at Not a Straight Answer. You see, I was doing some studying up on the meteoroids that hit the glass sky at 100 kilometers. And this lady was giving a presentation, and she mentioned this little gem. It just kind of piqued my interest. She said, the sources of these sporadic meteoroids are coming from the north apex and the south apex. They're also coming from the helion and the antihelion. When you think of pyramid and the word apex, then apex is the top of the pyramid, right? But if it's a north apex and a south apex, you're talking about a double pyramid, an octahedron, right? It's crazy, guys. And it's right there in plain sight. Let me show you. It's right there for you all to see. This is from Sporadic Meteor website. Sporadic meteors don't come from completely random directions, which their name implies. Most sporadic meteors come from 6 sporadic sources. Look at this. Look at this imagery. Look at this imagery, people. We have the celestial sphere in the middle of the earth. We have the north apex side of the pyramid. We have the south apex side. I also mentioned to you before that the northern side was brighter than the southern side. Okay, now of course they're going to twist things. They're going to try to fit this within a heliocentric model. They're going to say, well, the apex meteor, the apex is in the direction of Earth's motion, so apex meteors collide head-on with Earth. The helion and antihelion, these are the helion and antihelion sources. Now this is also interesting too, because I mentioned before, on one side we have the sun, and then we have the anti-solar point, the Gegenschein. It's right there in plain sight, people. So, and then they also talk about a toroidal origin too. So I got to get that one to you over here. There it is. Toroidal origin of meteors. Look at this, guys. So we have the helion and the antihelion coming from the sun, and then we also have the Gegenschein, where the sunlight converges on the opposite side, just like I told you before in the concave Earth. Then we have the north and south apex. We have the octahedron in the middle of the concave Earth, in the middle of heaven, behind the celestial sphere. And the north and south toroidal origin actually traces the perfect outline of the celestial sphere. Even this asteroidal one does as well. It's right there in plain sight, ladies.
All right. Is this going over your head? Harsh? I lost Harsh.
Octahedron. Wow. Oh man, this is
Listen,
something else.
this is crazy, right? This is pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it going over your head though?
I mean, I'm looking things up just to keep up. I mean, that's.
I know, right? I know. I feel like I need to be doing that too.
Yeah.
It's a little bit blowing my mind, and like I'm wondering, is it sounding convincing because they're confusing me?
I mean, I am very, very, what do you call it? I'm starting to believe this more than anything else.
The concave Earth?
It's possible. It's.
All right. I mean, let's let them finish their presentation. They got like 10 minutes left to go. But I was just wondering, because I'm wondering that. Because I was wondering, are they blowing you away with like mind-blowing shit? It's very neat. It's very cool. And it's real even. But is it proving to me that the Earth is concave? That's what I'm wondering. It's cool shit they're showing me, but is it proving anything? What do you think?
I mean, like I said, it's possible. I mean,
it's interesting, right?
One, it's interesting, and two, if we go back to one of the comments earlier where they said, I'm trying to think of that one guy who was in who visited Antarctica, that one admiral.
Admiral Byrd.
Byrd, saying, yeah, he visited him and his naval team visited the center of the Earth, but only 1/3 of them survived. I mean, that's just something's happening.
Dude, they came under attack. There was all kinds of things that went wrong on that mission, and Robert finds it interesting, even if he's not 100% following it.
That's kind of where I'm at right now, because I'm still.
That's what I was thinking. He's kind of nailed it because they're going over your head on purpose, I think.
Yeah.
But let's see if they bring it into a clearer point.
This is something where if I were to watch this again, one, I'd have to watch this again, and two, I'd have to probably just be more.
So much science right now.
I'd have
to
drink at least an entire gallon of coffee or something before.
This is why I chose this one, because they're showing a lot of evidence, which, as you're right, we'll be able to look back on and see how it stands up upon research.
Absolutely.
Don't fall asleep on me, Harsh.
No. Tree Fairy says that NASA formed right after Antarctic visits by Byrd.
And NASA is a cartoon agency. They're started by Werner von Braun, who was best friends with Walt Disney, man.
I remember Werner von Braun used to work for the Nazis.
He did work for the Nazis. Came here during Operation Paperclip, but he was also best friends with Walt Disney.
Yeah. Well, knowing that we know now about Disney, it kind of makes sense considering how gross that whole industry, that whole company
is totally connected to NASA. It's such a big wormhole. But let's listen to this for a little while longer. I want to hear what else they say.
Right.
Don't fall asleep, Harsh.
No. Gentlemen, this is the nail in the coffin for the concave Earth. No doubt about it. Oops, wrong image. No doubt about it, guys. No doubt about it whatsoever. This is what's going on, guys. It's right there. It's right there. Amazing. Amazing.
What is he talking about?
Put the street light in these monopolar fields that I just described from these coils. We put this thing in the field within a matter of a minute or two of working the thing in the field. Full galaxy appears inside the bulb, just like a picture of one of these Nova TV deals. You can spin, whole thing, the stars, the nebulas, the suns, all the colors of the rainbow is spinning inside a burned out street light and virtually powering and containing itself. Now we have a whole astronomical creation floating around in a light bulb on a workbench, and then it explodes the bulb. But after it explodes the bulb, for like a tenth of a second, it's not long, it sits there without any bulb to contain it.
Is it? What's it?
That's the creative force. This electrical monopolar field is how creation comes about. There is no evolution or any of that type of stuff. It's the electrical field at the time creates what exists, and it's always changing this way and that way. All living organisms are all based, just like all machines, are all based on the same mathematical function. All trees, plants, flowers, humans, everything's based on what's called the golden ratio.
Here they're going to show us the symbolism, religious and esoteric symbolism. The center is said to be the source, the center of the torus. I'm following this right now. So you're living inside the outer end. It's like an eyeball. What happened?
The abode of God. There's the attribute God. I'm gonna have my mind blown right now. Bottom of the cross, kingdom, is where we live. Perimeter of the circle. Rising up from the cross, outer rising to source God. Center of cross, source God. I'm not fully getting this part. Like, I kind of get it, but I don't know if I fully get it. Because, like, they're trying to show us how there's a lot of circles and symbolism in the old symbolism, but are they reaching? I think they're reaching a little bit right now. Do you think so? I don't know. I'm not fully convinced. Harsh was sucked out of the feed. I don't know what he thinks, but what do you think? You watching this, Harsh?
That's mind blowing. That's for sure.
That's kind of crazy.
It is. The whole thing is crazy. All right, Sean. I hate to do this to you, but I gotta get going.
All right, Harsh. Well, look. What do you think?
So far, what do you think?
You know what? I'm starting to believe Hollow Earth, but at the same time, I don't know.
All right, man. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you hanging out.
Of course, it's been fun. My pleasure. We have to do this again. We will.
Hell yeah. We are
We'll
going
see
to do
you
this again. You're coming back the
Monday.
27th, right?
Yeah.
No, April 3rd.
We got April 3rd, and I'll be back on, and we're doing the Morning Yank.
Fuck yeah.
And,
Morning Yank every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern.
and
Harsh is my partner on there.
And we might do another live stream later this week. Who knows?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well,
right,
thank
Sean.
you, Harsh. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
we
you.
got more to look at though, guys. Stick around.
Absolutely.
Harsh has got to go though. Bye, Harsh.
Bye.
Bye, Harsh. All right, Harsh had to leave us, but we're gonna look a little more at this. There's like 4 minutes left in this video. Drew wants to know if I'm awake yet. I don't know, man. I'm waking up. I don't know. This video hasn't convinced me yet. I think it's convincing me more than Dan would have, but let's let it finish making its case.
Point of creation, center. So everything's converging in at this center point, which is the dielectric field. It's destroying space. Here, this is formless energy before it's cast out and expressed through magnetism.
This black spot right here is where the light has disappeared. It cannot penetrate this spot, nor can it exist here, because this is a point of centripetal convergence, where light is literally sucking down like a drain down a hole. Okay? At the center of every magnet, there is zero magnetism. You see that underneath the ferrocell. You can see that underneath magnetic viewing film. You could even see it if you were to bring two magnets together with a Gauss meter at the center. So, we know what's going to be at the center. The dark lines represent centripetal convergence. The white lines represent centrifugal divergence. So what you're seeing in the white lines is true magnetism. No, they're moving in the exact same direction, only inverse to your spatial perspective. It's nothing. Space is the air inside this donut. The cream filling inside the donut of magnetic divergence is literally the farts, the after effect, the remnant remains, the fecal matter of the loss of inertia, which necessitates magnetic divergence and reciprocation. As Faraday called magnetism, he called it the dielectric field. And oddly enough, one of the first experts in electrical engineering was the guy who got closest, even closer than Tesla, to understanding what magnetism was in its relationship to dielectricity, because only
I don't know how I feel about this. This was the best evidence I could find for concave Earth. That doesn't mean they haven't scrubbed it.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And that's all I'm interested in is the truth. Nothing more. But I don't know that we came to it. What do you think? I don't think this changed my opinion at all. I don't think this changed my opinion. I still think the earth is fixed, stationary, and I don't think it matters what shape it is. Flat, concave, doesn't matter. Created by God is where I land. You know, my cat is being very adventurous right now. She is exploring the computer. So if she derails our feed, it's her fault. She's a beast. And she's getting where she's impatient with me. Cats are very smart and she wants attention. And it's been almost 90 minutes since she's had any. And she's fed up with me. She's realized the computer is the problem and she's trying to figure out how to eliminate said problem. See, she's working on it. She may figure it out. If she figures it out, then I apologize. But if she doesn't, we will continue forward with conspiracy theories and chill because we have to come to a conclusion. Our guest flaked out on us an hour before the show, so he didn't get to present his side. But is anyone here on the concave earth side? Anyone in the comments? We've got 24 here on Rumble, got 2 here on YouTube, and 6 here on Facebook. Is anyone in the concave earth field? Does anybody want to present the concave earth side? Because I feel like they threw a lot of science at us and it was good, but it didn't disprove what I believe. Jean says my cat will actually step on the power button to get my attention. If she's looking for the power button, right now she's trying to figure out where it is. Look, I'll show you. She's plotting on me right now. Look at her. She's up there trying to figure out what to do to get attention. She's going to try to figure it out. She's like 4 inches away from the power button. She just hasn't figured out what the power button is yet. She'll probably eat through the cord before she figures out the power button. But that's her plotting on me right there. She's plotting on me. But yeah, that's what happened. Dan Mckenna was supposed to be our guest. And this was actually some kind of bizarre revenge ritual on Dan's part. I'm going to give you some backstory on that. My last relationship fell apart on January 1st. Dan and Tony Smith were supposed to debate somewhere along that area of time. I ended up canceling it because of that. Because of the things going on in my personal life, I had to cancel it. Well, Dan felt wronged by that. And this was his revenge. So, a stupid fucking revenge, right? If you believe in the concave earth and you want to present your side of it, you're getting an excellent opportunity to do so. You're choosing that to make your stupid revenge. He was mad that he missed his opportunity to debate Tony Smith, who probably would have shredded him in the debate. He was mad over that and then pulled this shit to get even with me. But I didn't want to be unfair to concave earth people. I wanted to present your side of it. If you're here, no one claimed it, but if you're here, please comment. I'm not mocking. I'm not saying anything. I'm a creationist. So to me, concave earth is not outside the realms of possibilities because we're talking about God and anything's possible when you're talking about God. Samuel says we're on a flat plain surrounded by a ring of ice covered by a dome. That's pretty much where I land, and this didn't change my opinion. Yeah, Joan, he punished the audience for childish bullshit and guaranteed I would never, ever have him on again. He would never get an opportunity to do this again. It's his only chance. He showed his ass. He accomplished what he set out to accomplish. So what that means is up to anybody's interpretation. If you think this is him getting even, good. Go get even. Good. High five, Dan. You got even. To me, you fucked yourself because I gave you an excellent opportunity to present your side of a story that you probably debate endlessly on Facebook, and you lost that opportunity through being unprofessional. But Harsh took your place, did a great job. And I tried to present that side of the argument, you know. But again, I found the best evidence I could, and I don't think it did. I don't think it didn't sway me. Drew says I'm not trying to be an ass. I didn't think you were. Just my learnings, man, and thoughts of what I've learned and seen and been through. Dan McKenna, Samuel. Dan McKenna believes in concave Earth. He was going to show us how that's the truth, but I don't think he ever really intended to show up, you know? But that's not fair to those that do believe in concave Earth. So I presented their side, you know? But I do want to hear what you think. What do you think? You know? What do you think about the shape of the Earth? What do you think about conspiracy theories and chill? This is a new show. It's a brand new show. This was the first episode of that brand new show. This is the new path we're taking. So if you like this show, come back next week. Next week, we have Ty Malv coming on. Ty's going to come on, and he is going to talk about some interesting stuff. It's hard to tell you what it is. I'm going to try my best during the course of the next week to try and explain what we're going to talk about, because it's kind of mind-blowing. But it has to do with how everything's a fucking conspiracy, and we're in the middle of just a tangled mess of bullshit. So we're going to talk about that, me and Ty, next week. And then the week after that, Harsh Med is coming back for his scheduled visit to talk about the Titanic Olympic swap. So follow the Conspiracy Theories and Chill page on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Rumble. Follow us, and you'll stick with our content. We'll be back every Wednesday with a new episode. But this has been Conspiracy Theories and Chill. This is the new show. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. And like I said, if you did, come back next Wednesday, because we're going to have another brand new episode next Wednesday. But thank you so much for watching. I'm with you, Samuel. I still believe this. I believe the Earth is flat, stationary, protected by a dome firmament, just like it's described in Genesis. And some can't wrap their rabbit-ass minds around it. But, you know, we've come to the end of the first episode of Conspiracy Theories and Chill. So how do you feel about the shape of the Earth? Let me know in the comments. And come back next week for Ty Malv and how everything's a conspiracy. We're living a conspiracy. But until then, God bless you. Keep looking for the truth, and I'll see you next week.